Aitah for calling my husband a disgrace after I miscarried, and he said I ruined his birthday, then ignored me while I was bleeding and crying. Posted by U Progress Dependent 703. I miscarried yesterday afternoon about 12 p.m. I've never had a miscarriage before, and this baby was so wished for, so it's all so fresh, and I'm sobbing right now, so I apologize in advance if it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. My husband turned 27 yesterday. I 26F was pregnant with mine, and my husband's 27M second child. Yesterday, I was 8 weeks pregnant. The day before yesterday, we saw a beautiful heartbeat flicking on the screen, and today I'm devastated. I was playing with our 2-year-old when I felt a pressure in my lower abdomen. Not long later, I noticed bleeding, and I let my husband know immediately that I had discomfort and bleeding. Before long, I had passed what I believe is the fetus, and I messaged him, "I think I lost the baby." I wanted to keep him updated, and I guess I was seeking some kind of emotional support. I asked if he could come home, and he said of course, if it's urgent. I said I think it is because the pain and bleeding is getting worse, and I'm starting to feel lightheaded, and our 2-year-old is unattended in his playroom right now. We have no friends or family near that I could call who would get to us quicker than he could. I had to clean myself up, crawl downstairs to take paracetamol, make my son his lunch, and then put him down for a nap. At this point my husband still isn't home. He was working approx 30 mins away and took closer to 60 mins to get back. Hours later when I asked, it was because he'd stopped at Tesco to pick up some beers. I ended up very poorly, losing lots of blood, lightheaded, vomiting, etc., and he had to take me to accident and emergency. By the time I was discharged, it was almost 8 p.m. Last week, I had said I'd make him his favorite dinner for his birthday, which he reminded me when we were almost home. I said I wasn't feeling up to it, and that whatever takeaway he wants is on me. He said for fuck's sake under his breath, and then muttered something along the lines of "this bullshit has ruined my birthday." He didn't stop to get any takeaway, he just drove straight home. He put our son to bed and I went to bed, and I'm not sure what he did after. I didn't see him this morning as he had already left for work. He's not messaged me all day, and he got home a few hours ago. It's now 8:40 p.m., and he's been giving me silent treatment. I tried to speak to him about an hour or so ago, and he ignored me, and I called him a disgrace. He slammed the bedroom door and locked me out of the bedroom. His mum has since messaged me and said I need to be patient as he's also had a loss. She didn't ask how I was or anything. He's obviously speaking to his mum, but why isn't he opening up and speaking to me? She said I was harsh. I'm feeling utterly emotionally neglected right now. My body has been through emotional and physical hell. I understand that my miscarriage came at a fucking inconvenient time for him, as it was his birthday and all. I'm not sure if it's the hormones making me feel crazy, but is it nuts to contemplate divorce? Relevant comments. Op clarifies, off topic, I am on annual leave and return to work on Monday. I have already told a handful of my close co-workers that I am pregnant. I have no idea to navigate this. What is the best way to tell people that I am no longer pregnant? Do I just say? Do I wait for them to ask? I feel so stupid for telling people so soon, so I've put myself in this position. What's the least awkward way to address it, so that there are absolutely no follow-up questions? I don't want to discuss it any more than I have to because I just keep breaking down. Top commenter, important, you are still at risk of infection at this juncture. It's still dangerous for you. Monitor your bleeding and temperature. Your marriage is over. How long you stay with him is up to you. But this man is neither husband nor father material. He cares more about his wants than your or your child's needs. It took a crisis like this to show who he really is. Not the Aitah. I'm so sorry you are going through all this. Up a few hours later. Fever is currently 38.5 degrees C. I think I'm going to have to head to accident and emergency for a peace of mind. Thank you guys for your advice. I'll try to respond to the comments in regard to my husband when I'm feeling better and have recovered. It's just been a hellish day and a half. Op posts screenshots of her National Health Service profile. Mini update in comments, 3 days later. I'm not sure how to do an update or if anyone will see this. I have left my husband. Me and my son are staying with family and are safe. I have another scan tomorrow morning to make sure I have passed everything successfully. Thank you to everyone who had reached out and offered advice. It's been really helpful. I started antibiotics for my tonsillitis on Saturday, and I'm already feeling much better. Update 2 days later. A kind Reddit user informed me that this is the best way to do an update, rather than adding a comment to my previous post, so hopefully this reaches the right people. I should have clarified in my original post from last week that the way my husband responded was completely out of character for him. He's usually a caring and supportive man, and is a good husband and father. The only incident where he's shown any kind of red flags was when I put together an accent chair. I used a screwdriver to attach the legs to the seat, and when he came home from work and saw that I'd done it myself, he jumped on it until it broke to show that I didn't do it properly and that I should have waited for him to come home. He'd been under lots of stress at work, so I asked him to go to therapy, which he did, instead of pulling the divorce card straight away. We have been together for 7 years in May and is the only partner I've ever known. My family all love him and have accepted him from day one. I also should have clarified, yes, I know he was an Aitah in the scenario, I wasn't questioning that. What I was questioning was whether I took it a step too far in calling him a disgrace. He's going through a lot at work at the moment. It was his birthday. I'd been messaging him and telling him that I'd miscarried his child, and he had to leave work early, and then I called him a disgrace after he'd taken me to the hospital, and was responding to the grief in his own way. I think the majority of people said I was not the Aitah in this scenario, and due to his behavior that my insult was justified. Thank you to everyone who reached out, checked in, offered condolences and emotional support. I've read all my messages and tried to read most of the comments. Most of them have been very kind and useful and have helped a lot over the past few days. I had a scan yesterday which confirmed that everything has passed successfully. Some people may remember that I was very worried about retained tissue due to my fever over the weekend. Also, my tonsillitis has fully cleared up, so I'm feeling almost back to normal, physically. I left my husband. Me and my son are staying with family in a different part of the country, so we are safe and are managing. My husband did get very angry when I told him that I was leaving him. He tried to stop me from leaving with our son, put hands on me, and threatened to end his life. My mom intervened, and like I said, we are safe. I have some time off work now, so I will continue to take time to recover emotionally and plan my next steps. Thank you if you've read this far. I doubt there will be any more updates after this. Relevant comments. Commenter 1. I'm glad you left him, but I am concerned you'll go back based on how this post is written. You are still speaking about him like he is a good husband and are justifying his behavior. Stop doing that. Make a therapy appointment for yourself. Commenter 2. I'm not going to lie, I had no idea where this post was going. It seemed like you defended his behavior, then dropped the chair incident on us, then continued to defend him. By the last paragraph honestly felt like I had whiplash. Regardless, I'm happy you're away from him and are safe because he's definitely not a good person. Stressed or not, that's not how sane people conduct themselves. Please do not let him guilt you into going back to him. He's dangerous. Commenter 3. I am curious why people do stuff like breaking other people's things like that. I had made something I 3D printed, and a coworker said it looks flimsy, and then took it somewhere I couldn't see and smashed it with a hammer. Like, it was beyond a reasonable thing that would ever happen. Like in that moment, she had a narcissistic demand that I somehow upstaged her, so she smashed my stuff out of jealousy. It baffles me. It was literally just like your husband did, doing something intentionally beyond its normal use to begin with, to intentionally destroy it. I read your post twice, and I think your husband is having a mental breakdown from work and has developed narcissistic personality disorder, probably from the stress. Update 2, 5 weeks later. Hi, I'm not sure if anyone remembers, but I posted on this app for the first time a while back after I had a miscarriage, and my husband said I ruined his birthday. I need to start this off by asking that if anyone takes the time to comment, please do not leave negativity or insults, as I'm extremely emotionally vulnerable, and I truly feel terrible. When I updated about 5 weeks ago, I didn't think I'd have to make another update, but in short, I'd left my husband and he'd forcibly tried to keep me in the house by putting his hands around my neck. It was really frightening, and in that moment, made me feel completely confident in my decision to leave. Since that day, I haven't had any contact with my husband. As I was leaving, he was screaming that he'd kill himself if I left. It's not the first time he's threatened this in our relationship, but I called his mum once I was in the car to let her know. She said she'd go over to see him, and I didn't hear from her for another week or so. About 2 weeks ago, my husband was found dead in our family home. I'm angry, hurt, devastated, relieved, and most of all guilty. I feel so guilty that he's dead. If I hadn't have left, I'm certain he'd still be alive. But I can't be certain that I would be, or that our son would be. I don't know how much sense I'm making. I just know that there were some people worried for mine and my son's safety. Please be kind. Please reach out to loved ones or local services if you're struggling. Update 3. I randomly logged into this account today and saw countless messages checking in, so I thought I'd do a blanket response so you know we're okay. First of all, thank you. I was a shell of the person I am today 6 months ago when I first posted here to get advice. I knew this app existed, but I had no idea that there are so many lovely people here so ready to help and share similar experiences. It was exactly what I needed when I needed it, and I'm forever grateful. It was just over 6 months ago that I miscarried. My husband treated me like shit on the bottom of his shoe, and I left him, despite him choking me in an attempt to scare me into staying. I'm now doing really well. I'm being medicated for anxiety. I've had almost 6 months of regular therapy, which has been so beneficial, and husband, much more abuse has come to light. My son has done really well. I do suspect autism, so I've started to get that ball rolling. He's been struggling with that in preschool, but otherwise doing really well, and I'm so proud of him. I'm about to complete on buying a house near my family. I've been staying here with my mum since everything happened anyway, but at least we'll have our own space again, and near my support network. I'll never ever ever let a partner isolate me like that again. I have gone no contact with my mother-in-law and 2 sister-in-laws, which stung a bit, but my life is much more peaceful. That's about all I can think of that's happened since I last logged on here. I can't imagine I'll have any further updates. Thanks again so much to everyone who offered advice, guidance, and their own experiences. It probably saved my life and my son's life.